Smart investing is all about making choices. And these choices will help you to meet your unique needs today and your financial goals for the future in according to your personal circumstances. And there are a few principles of successful investment. One is you need to know yourself. Are you prepared to take risk? What is your risk appetite? Are you prepared to read? Are you prepared to educate yourself? Are you prepared to know yourself first? What type of person you are? If you are not a risk-taking person, what is the next option? Hello? Yeah. It talks of getting an early start. I'll give you one example. A person who has bought HDFC shares, just 10 shares, for 6,500 rupees, 10 shares, he gets a rights issue at 800, he buys another 10 shares. At that time, the face value of HDFC was 100 rupees. He now has 20 shares. They split the face value to 10. He has 200 shares. He gets a bonus of 200 shares. He has 400 shares. They split the face value once again from 10 to 2. He has 2,000 shares. His original investment was 14,500. The value of those shares today is 34 lakhs of rupees. So you need to start early. When this particular person invested, he thought of that particular phrase, that Deepak Parikh came and he knew that was the need of the hour. As he called it, ye waqt ka taqaza hai. Nobody was giving housing loans. And not only did he see this waqt ka taqaza, he saw that his HDFC becomes very profitable and practical. At that time, when they were in Calcutta, in Asansol there wasn't enough business. So they used to have a satellite branch and they used to come to Asansol for 1 or 2 days in a week. That is the type of innovation he had. Anyway, and one thing of HDFC also, they give it to salaried class people more. At one time they were refusing business class people. That is the trustworthiness they have of salaried class people. Okay, it is important to invest regularly. You cannot say, when that property is sold, I will do this. When I get my bonus, I will invest. No. Invest in a practical manner. And today, you have SIP, you have many other things. I'll come back to you on this because you can buy one single share. Okay? In Bombay Stock Exchange. Now, I always say, build a diversified portfolio. Don't put only in Hendanco, only in Tata's, metals, or a metal company only. No, you have it Tata Motors, Tisco, and many other diversified investments. Now you need to monitor these investments. You need to look at your demat statement. If you had 1 crore rupees, you would insure those goods, you would go and check that those goods are not getting damaged. But people don't look at their demat statement sometimes for 1 year. And you lose opportunities. They don't look at prices for 1 year. A person having, say, L&T, the price range is between 900 to 1700. They don't buy L&T at 900 and they don't sell it at 1700. That person has lost two opportunities in 1 year. Align your investments with your time horizons, short term and long term. In Kerala, you will see a farmer, when he gets a baby girl child, he will plant some tea trees. His long-term goal is that for the marriage of this girl child, he will sell those tea trees and get money for the marriage. Well, your long-term goals also should be some blue chip investments. I'm coming to our famous ex-Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh. Manmohan Singh, when he started liberalization, he said one thing very clear. He said, you cannot stop an idea whose time has come. Today, the idea which we are presenting to you is SME industry listing on the stock exchange. Today, the small and medium enterprises can list their shares on the stock market. First, they will be in the SME exchange where the market lot is 300, 400, 10,000 shares also. And then when they migrate to the BSE or NSE board, the market lot size will be just 1 share, which is a very, very big thing. Now, what is this SME all about? Your SME, small and medium enterprises, will be the growth driver from this Make in India program. It is important for employment and exports. Both these growth drivers are necessary. It employs 40% of the workforce and there are 57.7 million work units. Well, there's this micro and medium SMEs. They are part of the SME group. They account for 17% of the GDP, 40% of the exports, 45% of manufactured output, and this sector employs 69 million people. You know, according to Hindu mythology, there was a Satya Savitri. She was told that she had one wish, and only one wish, but her needs were many. So she thought, and she said, if it is one wish, I wish that my father-in-law will see my son sitting on the throne. Her father-in-law was blind. He regained his sight. Her husband was dead. He came back to life. She was barren. She conceived and got a child. Now, this SME sector, this whole thing of the SME shares being listed, I have used it, the example of Satya Savitri. Because with one wish, you can solve many problems. At present, what is the problems they face? There is very limited credit given to the SME sector. They have poor books of accounts, poor compliances. The NPA probability in a downturn is very high. Remember, sometimes banks have charged penal interest of 17% in the past. It wipes off their profitability and part of their capital. So they need cheaper finance. There is a high cost of borrowing sometimes. You know, there was a practice in one particular company, FMCG company, and it was Hindustan Levers. You could come to the factory gate, give your goods, and in 1 hour leave the factory gate, and they would give you your check, but they would deduct 10%. That was the high cost of interest that they charged you. These small units got wiped off. Hindustan Lever prospered because that 10% deduction was their profit. Not only profit, it was part of their capital perhaps, but the units got wiped off. Today, only 10 to 12% of bank credits are going to this SME sector. Nearly 70% of the SMEs do not use formal credit. 15% are underfinanced. Yet, the growth of the SME sector has been exponential. It has grown in spite of all the handicaps they face. Presently, India needs 1.3 million jobs every year. And the SME sector is the main growth driver for this. Now, how do they get their money? Equity is going to be the cheapest form of credit. I just want to go back to Reliance. Over the years, they have had something known as debentures. They converted these debentures to equity. But when they converted it, they had to do many things. They charged a premium which was not based on their book value. So, control of capital issues got abolished. They charged high premium that they kept on converting the debentures. Now, when they converted the debentures, they charged a premium. So, their equity and the reserves both went up. So, they could have fresh debentures. And they went on doing with A series, B series, C series, D series. They became very rich in equity. Today, the Ambani Group controls about 5% of India's economy. I'm talking of turnover of manufactured goods. And Dhirubhai Ambani started off in alien. He was an attendant in a petrol pump. My dear friends, think big, act big, and become big, just like Dhirubhai Ambani did. Bank finance always has a high rate of interest. Depending on the time, the poorer you are, the higher the rate of interest. So a poor man becomes poorer, a poor entrepreneur becomes poorer because he has to be profitable. Now you need debt through formal credit, and this debt which you are going to take should last for at least 10 to 20 years. You can only get that through banking or through equity. And this is where the listing of the SME exchange comes in. Back again to Satya Savitri, what happens? The SME has problems, just as Satya Savitri had problems. It is family owned. There's no succession plan, nobody knows. It was like after Nehru, who? They are non-professional. The business was passed on from father to son. There is a very high cost of funds. If you borrow money, cost is high. They are not open to takeovers and mergers because they are a single family unit. Now what happens? When a family moves to a higher bracket, presently if you have a flat in Bandra, you have to think, if I sell the flat and give it to my sons and daughters, I am either to go to Borivali or to Melbourne. But in case of SME, you can disinvest, say 25% of your stake, control the business, and you move it to a higher bracket. And that is what happens over here. I'll give you one example of our community. MRF, what were their beginnings? They had a balloon factory. What is their current price of their shares? 69,500. What is the market cap of MRF? 29,000 crores. The promoters have 27% stake owned by them, which works out to 7,500 crores, which is a huge amount. Now understand one more thing. The community needs rich people. When the Pope came to Madras, they required money. It is here that MRF people and others can be of use. You have V-Guard. What did it start off with? It started with voltage stabilizers. Today, what is the current market price of V-Guard? It is 238 crores. The market cap is 10,000 crores. The promoters hold 65%. That is 6,500 crores. Now, he also had problems. And when he had problems, like all of us, we go to the priest and ask him what to do. Whatever sin we commit, they are forgiven. But the priest told him, why don't you go to some rural area where we have a mission station and get some solace of having a factory over there. Today, a salaried class person, the family wealth is 6,500 crores. Grandma came from a very middle income. Wife was a teacher. They took finance from another cooperative bank initially. The son went and studied abroad. He never went to the best university, decent university. He came back. Today the market cap of Glenmark is 16,731 crores. The promoters have 46% worth 8,000 crores. If you add all this together, it comes to 22,000 crores. My question I'm asking you, why should the community not have at least 1 lakh crores market cap with them, with the promoters? It is their possibility, I believe. Now you know what Kenneth Andrade who was with HDFC, I think. What does he say? I bet on companies that make money when peers don't. When their colleagues are not making money, these people will be making a little money, not a loss. But when the upturn comes, they become the future blue chips. Porunju, he's from Kerala, he's from our community. He says people are getting a grip of things. Today, when you invest, you have things like money control and so many other facilities. They give you data virtually on the platter. I always say if you're going to invest in shares, go deeper, not wider. Don't be a second-hand thinker. They were saying this in the bus. No, you go back and study. Money control will give you, I'm taking money control, you can learn readif.com and many others. They will give things like the turnover, the peers in that group, what is the price earnings ratio in that industry, and in this particular case, they will give a lot of things, they will give earnings per share. Okay? Now I'm coming to one important thing, the strength of the community. A lot of strength of the community is in the food industries. When you have fairs and other things, you can see that. But in this changing world, you are changing tastes. And the easiest thing to change is a person's taste. In recent times, we had Domino Pizza. Few years ago, most of us had not eaten pizza. You have mushrooms. 20 years ago, people never had mushrooms. Today, they are consuming mushrooms like anything. Chinese food. Now, what has happened? Nestle has made a brand name. They don't say, give me instant noodles. They say, Mala Maggi diya. Colgate has made a brand name. They say, I want Colgate. They don't say, any toothpaste. You take any toothpaste name, but they will say, Mala, hey, Colgate diya. Cadbury's has kept their wrapping more or less blue and white. And when a person goes for satay chocolate, they'll say, Mala satay Cadbury diya. Mala Nestle Cadbury diya. That is the power of a brand. Over the years, we can see when people went to Velankani, they bought masala called Bond Masala. Today, Bond Masala has come to Bandra because the people who went to Velankani brought it to Bandra. There is a foreign bank, I understand, where they will look at an IPO for Bond Masala. Your local brands, Ruby Masala, when people go abroad to England, New York, anywhere, they are taking the bottle masala of Ruby Masala. Why? Because they made a brand. Now you take tiffins. People slog for years, and at the end of that slogging, they cannot even afford a flat in Bandra or in Vasai. I have a young person who's, to an extent, I consider myself as a mentor because all decisions he comes to me. He has one flat in Bandra, one flat in Vasai, and I'm after him to buy something more. What has he done? He has started a food business over the years. He left the Gulf and started the business. Today in the food industry, there is a disruptive technology. The disruptive technology is that you will have a man having a small kitchen and one telephone. He will take orders on the phone. His investment in the kitchen is a home kitchen. The phone is there. So his cost cutting is such. It is a disruptive technology. What is a disruptive technology? Let me explain to you in a few seconds. Don't mind, huh? You see, when computerization took place, you had on the board your boogie number. Right? So you knew where to stand. It came on the board over there. Boogie number so and so. Over the years, you'll see the coolies with this brass ticket. You cannot see them. On the other station, if you get one or two, be happy. But they were the people who caught the place for you. But when computerization came, it was a disruptive technology for them. They lost their jobs. So you cannot afford to pay high rents. If you pay high rents for food, you have to pay high prices. That is where the tiffin business is a great strength for the community. Now, some of us, Gabbar Singh, he said one deadly sentence, Bhaiya, sabse badhiya rupaya. Now, we don't have to feel ashamed to work. When I went to the bank and one day we were talking about cooking, so I said I help my wife to cook. A guy had to be paikochi baile. Another fellow saying, chul kombra hai. The best cooks in the world are men. The best cooks in the world. If you see certain communities, the men over there do the cooking. Now, the very important thing is, when you earn money, the government comes. First with the hand. You bought this for 10,000, you sold it for 1 lakh, give us our capital gains. Very importantly, in the stock market, there are listed companies. Long-term capital gains sets in after 1 year, and long-term capital gains of shares is 0 after 1 year. Short-term capital gains is 15%. We are salaried class people, so we don't want to pay that 15%. But sometimes it is very good to pay the 15% when you are getting the right price. Time is short, I cannot explain to you everything. As far as SME sector is concerned, we need to look at long-term only in the SME sector. Why? Because it migrates after 2 years to the main platform. When it is in the SME sector, the market lot may be 400. Cisco market lot is 5,000. Okay? Now, when it migrates, the market lot becomes 1. The value of the share, the price value is realized. Mangalam Seeds, I'll give you one example. The market lot was 1,500. Today it is 750. Bansal Roofing, after the rights issue was at 30. Recently, the price is 70. The amount of scope that is there in the SME sector is tremendous. Now, I'll give you an example of a person having a pharmaceutical firm. There were 3 shareholders. No, go back to the previous one. There were 3 shareholders, each had 1/3 share. One person was not prepared to sell to anybody. But if you are listed on the SME exchange, you can sell your shares anytime. In case of IPO. This is an easy way of getting out of your stocks. Now, I've taken this farm project as an example. You see, in Vasai you may have units where there's a big land holding in financial terms because the price of land has gone up in Bali and other places. Now, there's a high cost of labor. So on one hand you have land where the book value is very nominal, actual value is very high. But the labor cost is so much, you're not getting labor. So the whole project becomes unviable. Over here you may have cases where people will want to move from Vasai to Palghar for cheaper labor. The classic example of land bank I'm taking is of L&T. L&T started off in Andheri, in a remote area, Sakinaka, all that area. Now, some of the workers they couldn't get over there was no food, there was nothing, there were no restaurants. So they used to bring the dabba. And the monkeys used to come and rob the dabba. So the worker was hungry. So some labor, you find labor has found it very difficult. Today, later on it became a congested area. In certain banks, if they wanted to punish a person, they had to transfer him to Sakinaka branch. Because there was traffic, there was pollution, and even Andheri people didn't want to go to Sakinaka. Today things have changed. L&T has changed from monkeys to metro. The metro has come over there, and believe it or not, the prices are very high of the train ticket. But remember more, that within the next 2-3 years, people in L&T will retire. And many people will retire, and this land bank can be encashed. This is a little out of the way, but it will mean unlocking of wealth. In SME sector also unlocking takes place. Migration from SME, this SME exchange is there, you migrate to the main board, but over here conditions apply, compliance is applied. In the past we have seen many technocrats, people in the steel industry, people in other industries. Why do they fail when they went and listed on the main board? They failed because the IPO cost was very high. See, there was no question of taking any premium on your stock. Whatever you have to get 10 rupees only. Today in SME sector, your 10 rupee share